got here. So. I shouldn't be touching it. Just don't touch it.
You just can't help yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are here again with Dana Cooper. We've been here sat in these seats a few times over the years.
Yes.
Dana, for the people that don't know you, would you kind of take them from your start musically in Independence, Independent, Missouri, wasn't it, where you started?
Yes, sir. Take them all the way.
Bring them to Nashville and then bring them to Waxahachie somehow.
All the way to my time in San Quentin and all that.
Yeah,
Too.
that's right.
All of it.
That makes for a good story. Like I said, the fish gets bigger every time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I grew up in Missouri, Independence, and Kansas City a lot. When I was very young, we lived in Kansas City for a brief while. We lived out in the country before that, until I was about 4. But I grew up in Independence and went to school there.
Discovered the
St.
Beatles
Andrews.
there, right?
Discovered the Beatles, of course. A lot of other people discovered them soon after I did, but I did. And it's funny, when my dad was a big music freak, and he'd go every week. He'd get off work from the steel mill. He'd stop by this lady's record store in the square there in Independence. He'd check out what was new, He'd get the new Merle Haggard or Johnny Cash or something. And one day he comes home from work. He's got his hard hat on, his lunchbox in one hand. He's got Meet the Beatles under his arm. And he's like, what's a Beatle? What are the Beatles? We heard them sing the song Till There Was You, which is an old song from World War II.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Peggy,
And,
Porky Bess.
Yeah, and then there was also a song there, I saw her stand there when she was just 17, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that was, he met my mom when she was 17, so he heard that song. He brought it home, and we put it on, and he was like, wow, this is some good stuff. Well, yeah, about a week or so later, I see a picture of the Beatles getting off the airplane in New York City, and they're going to play at the Ed Sullivan Show.
Yeah, right.
And I thought, these guys look like a boys' choir or something. It's like,
Uh-huh.
so weird. And I hadn't seen them play, of course. And then at Sullivan that night, we sat around and watched them, and we were just blown away, of course. And
The world was.
yeah, the world was. And I really, I think, obviously, it's such a go-to thing, but it is true for me. The Beatles really, as songwriters and all, the variety of what they did, the adventure, some spirit they had, what they did, really appealed to me.
And in a short period of time.
Oh yeah, really,
You know.
yeah. They didn't even tour that many years. It's so weird.
Right.
But they're just so good, and I love the fact that every album was different. And they kept growing, kept changing. Played with country and folk, and just really all over the place. I love that about them, and so they're a big influence on me early on. But a lot of things were, I really grew up listening to country music like my.
You did Hank Williams' song Tonight.
Yeah, Hank Williams, Merle Haggard, that kind of stuff. I was weaned on with my dad. Ernest Tubb. That's the first live show I would see was Ernest Tubb. My dad took me when I was 3 years old to see him play. Mm-hmm. And so my dad had a profound effect on me. And that year, 1954, 3 things happened. He took me to see Ernest Tubb in Kansas City. We lived out in the country. And then we moved to the city shortly after that, and he took me to see a movie called Blackboard Jungle.
Yeah.
And the song, the opening song was Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and Comets.
Right.
So I heard Ernest Tubb, Walsh Cross, Texas, Bill Haley and Comets playing this crazy, that guitar solo still just is wild.
Yeah.
And the whole song. And then I heard, then he took me to another film called On the Waterfront, which Leonard Bernstein wrote the music to, which is incredible, evocative music. It still really moves me still. So I had those 3 musical influences that really hit me hard right there in that year. And I don't know. I think a lot of what I do really comes directly out of that time, that year in particular. I think.
And later on, after you and I are pretty much the same age, so they're
Well,
in
you're
the
older than me, but yeah.
yeah, just slightly,
Yeah,
just
let's
slightly,
clarify. You are older than me.
just slightly. But we're not as gray as you yet.
No.
No.
I
Okay,
started
wait. So
going
we
very
won't.
fast.
Okay, we won't. We'll stop there. We'll stop there.
Yeah, I have hair in you.
You after the Beatles influence, that was a different kind of influence because that was an influence that just shook the whole world up. You know.
Yeah.
Now, what made you think, and at what point did you feel like you could write? Because at some point in time, you had to start putting that pen on the paper, and you were a hell of a writer.
Well, I appreciate that. I started probably before I should have. But I started writing around that time. You know, I was I guess 13. I wrote my first songs, a little handful of songs, and they were really just studies. You know, I was just trying to figure out how to write a song, and so I learned to play songs I liked, of course, and by all kinds of people, and studied how, you wrote a song just by kind of breaking them down and.
Whoa, what the heck?
What's going on? It's got a life of
I
its
think
own.
we have a ghost.
Good thing we weren't on that camera.
Yeah, so I just started, writing teenage love songs, and
Isn't that where
do you
They're
remember
awful.
the songs?
I remember one was called "Between 32nd and 31st Street" was the title.
Yeah.
It was about a girl who I knew who lived on 31st Terrace.
So do you remember all the lyrics and the music to it?
31st Terrace. Well, I haven't really tried. I mean, I can hear it in my head. I can.
Do you want to try?
No.
No. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Nah, you don't want me to do that.
So you started writing songs and you were playing out, and you were playing in bands at that time.
Yeah.
And you've played in some bands that we know, and
Yeah.
good bands. But then you broke away at some point in time. You went to Nashville. You met your bride.
Yeah.
Tell us about all that, getting out to Nashville.
Well, that was kind of a fluky thing because Nashville was the last place on earth I really cared about going to. I mean, honestly, I just sort of thought, when I was a little kid, I loved country music, but I grew to hate it. I hated all that crossover stuff in the 70s and 80s and stuff. I just thought it was awful. And actually, I listen back to a lot of that stuff now. It's really good. At the time, it
didn't hit your ear.
It was too slick. It didn't. Yeah, I didn't care for it. So I kind of always pictured Nashville as that, and just sort of, what's the old Dennis Leary joke about he moved to Nashville and worked in the sequin mines. I mean, it was I didn't, I just sort of didn't take it seriously. But I had two very good friends who lived there and who were really good songwriters. Josh Leo was the main one. And Josh is, I knew him in Kansas City. We grew up there and played in the same clubs at the same time. He played with a guy named Ron Crick who lived in Texas for years and passed away some years back. But Josh is quite a talent, and he had accomplished a lot and played with a lot of different people. He played with Kim Carnes' band and Jimmy Buffett's band and J.D. Souther and the Eagles. He worked with them and produced all kinds of artists and has like 12 or 13 songs that were hit songs he's written or co-written. And, he's very successful. Mm-hmm. And he was living there, and he kept saying, man, you got to come to Nashville and check it out. There's something going on here. There was something they called the Integrity Scare, which lasted for a couple of years. And all these crazy people like James McMurtry and Sean Colvin and Lyle Lovett and Lucinda Williams, all these people were hanging around and kind of stirring things up a little bit, and then the door just kind of slammed. I moved there right in the middle of the Integrity Scare. And because I went there at Josh and Jerry Vandiver's invites, and I slept on their couches, and I'd go have meetings with people and play my recordings for them. People were just, my gosh, they get on the phone, you got to hear this guy, I'm sending him over. I mean, really, this thing happened the first few times I went there. And I met all these people and in the business, and then moved there, and nobody called me for like a year.
Oh, my gosh.
It was just weird.
That is weird.
Huh? But Like I said, it was a different time, and I kind of got there right.
What
at the
year
door.
was that you moved to Nashville?
Moved there in '88.
Okay.
I started going there in '86, and kind of what I did in Texas. I came to Houston in '76, '77, like several times each year, and visited and played. And '78 moved there. Same thing. Went from Houston to Nashville '86, '87. Kind of visited, wrote with people, did gigs, open mics, things like that. Met all kinds of incredible people there, and it was like, okay, I could live here. I could see there's a community of different writers and different things happening, and then the door really just kind of shut, and all those people, went away and got deals other places and stuff.
Gosh,
and,
I'm surprised you don't have commitment issues now.
Well, I don't know. You have to have a very hard head and be very
thick-skinned.
Yeah, thick-skinned, hard-headed, and you got to just really keep going back to the door.
And so you're out. But how did you meet Linda? And tell us about Linda. Tell everybody about Linda.
Well, she's a painter, an artist, a graphic designer, and I met her in Houston at Corky's. It was a place I played a lot there with John Vander and Shake Russell and all those folks. Yeah, we just met back then and hit it off and always supported each other in our different art pursuits. So.
Does she ever
Good
go on the
memories.
road with you?
Once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Once in a while. The long trips aren't that much fun, and the grueling gig-to-gig kind of things aren't that much fun, but sometimes, yeah.
So where do you want to be in say 2 or 3 years from now? I mean, you've really had a varied career. You've been all over the country, but where do you kind of see yourself just a couple of years down the line?
A couple of years down the line, I never really think that far usually. I don't set long-term goals much, but I have set a lot of goals in my life, but I haven't always met them either. But what I imagine, what I hope will happen is that I'll keep building a listening audience, and I don't know nowadays what to expect, just because I don't even know how people hear music anymore. I don't know,
right?
Why they buy it or why they want it for nothing or all that I don't get. So I feel a bit out of time and place, but I think that the power of what I do is in. Just what I just do,
live shows,
in a live show, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get more people to come hear me play.
Right.
So that's what we're working so hard toward, and now I've got a really strong team with Korean teams managing me. We've got a really good radio publicity guys helping. So right now I'm just kind of looking week to week. We're trying to build momentum for the new record, which comes out in February, and with that, I hope.
And we're going to see you in February, I think, right?
Yeah, she's getting me booked around the country.
Yeah, we got February, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll be back here live.
Yeah, she's got some great CD release tours planned, and they'll get me to parts of the country I haven't been to in a while, and some of them really ever, and just get it out to people. See if I can get more folks to dig what I do, and buy a T-shirt, buy a CD,
and that's
sign
really
up an
that's
email
really
list,
cool. What y'all are doing with the button-up shirts.
Yeah,
it's a recycling labor of love that promotes you and all that. So I'm not going to tell you all about it. You'll have to come to a show and find out.
Yeah, those are only available at live shows.
That's right.
Yeah,
but they are fun.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I like those a lot too. Yeah, I mean, I think it's what I hope is that in a few years that I'll be able to play consistently for I don't know, a room full of people every night, and not have nights where there aren't that many people there.
You'll be happy if you're touring and play in front of people.
That's
Good.
what I want to do. That's what I love.
What you like to do.
That's my joy.
It was hard last year not being able to do that, wasn't it? Just it was so out of.
It was hard, but it was kind of I was kind of in a way I was ready for a little time off the road, too, because it had been just sort of not going much of anywhere for a while, and where I missed it, and I really did, but I I applied myself other places, like working on a recording,
Mm-hmm.
getting back to doing some gardening, which I hadn't done in a while. That felt good to get outside,
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
a lot, walk more every day.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of get my and write. I'm working on a book, a collection of stories and poems, and
Wonderful.
we've been organizing that and getting that prepared for at some point to put that out some way.
Let
So
us know.
it was good. Yeah, it was good, and writing some new songs, and so it was good for that. But yeah, as far as playing goes, wow, it was really. I mean, I got back out playing for audiences again, and it took a little bit of rehearsing and relearning some songs.
Mhm.
Everybody, I know that last year, our first show coming back out of that whole COVID blackout was Shake.
Oh yeah.
And he came in, and it was actually a year ago yesterday.
Okay.
And there was an oddity to everything
Yeah.
because, everybody was coming back from this separation.
Yeah.
And none of us have ever experienced anything like it.
No.
And I hope we don't again.
No, and it's still a little awkward, a lot of places. I mean, it's kind of getting a little less so, but yeah, it's and from place to place as I travel, I notice it's different everywhere you go. Yeah, it feels good to get back to it for sure. I mean, I love it. I just kind of it really made me aware that I really have to spend a lot of time digging in and trying to relearn some of my own songs. I hadn't played for a while.
Get a little rusty.
There's a lot of
I
songs out there.
found the same thing. Even though you always want to write new ones,
Mhm.
when you have that time off, I found myself trying to take some of my songs and redo them and think about
Uh-huh.
different ways to,
Yeah,
put them out there.
yeah,
And
that's good.
but I do hope you'll always come back and see us when you come this way, either for one of these events or the
Yeah.
live shows or.
Or you can just
Both
pop
of
in
them.
and say, hey.
Hey,
Yeah, we've always
Randy will
got
probably even feed you.
that. It's probably happened before. Yeah, we got peanuts.
yeah,
He's a
I've been-
peanut man.
I've been making a dent in the peanuts.
Yeah, that's okay. We got a big old 5-pound bag. We'll whip you with
Sneak
it.
that big bag out.
I look forward to the next time you come and join us.
Thank you. I always look forward to
And,
seeing you guys.
I very much want everybody to go see this guy, support live music. Dana Cooper is one of the hardest workers out there on the road, and he gives your money's worth every time. So don't sit at home when you can go see this guy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you again, Dana, for coming.
Okay,
And
thank you. Thanks again
And
for
thank
having me.
y'all for listening,
Yeah.
and keep on tuning in because
And
you're
you are
in
in
the
the
music
music room.
room. All right.
Good.